Consistency is what I would like to talk to you about today. How consistent are you with the things that you do? How much follow through do you have on the things that you say you're actually going to do when you say you're going to do them? Unfortunately, we live in a society that's, dare I say, a little too forgiving about not following through, not being there. And yeah, you know, I have spoken in terms of this with, you know, how committed are you to something? Like, when you walk down the aisle, this is one of the examples that I give. When you walk down the aisle, and you say, I do, you say it thinking at the time that that's it, that's all you're going to do. But, you know, I often find they need to change it to I do until something better comes along. And that's not ideal. So that's the commitment thing. But I'm talking about a level of consistency. Consistency is how often do you show up when you say you're going to show up? How often are you there when you say you're going to be there? How often do you follow through on something that you say you're going to do and then actually do it right to the end? Okay. Now, there is something that I would like to say, throw in here. Don't do something if it's toxic, if it's going to hurt others, if it's hurting yourself, or if it's not working. You have to adjust. So don't use this as an excuse to go, well, I'm flogging a dead horse. What you're doing is you're flogging a dead horse and you're not learning. So you have to adjust. You have to have your flexibility shoes on. And if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch that. Your stretch shoes on, you've got to stretch your boundaries, you've got to be flexible, be aware of what's working and what's not working. Okay, so do not use consistency as an excuse to continue doing the same old thing expecting a different result, which is what Einstein said was the sign of stupidity. And I'd have to agree, you know. And how many humans do this? You know, it's like, and off they go again. I mean, I dare I say it, I've seen it after the pandemic, and I'm just like, there's a whole bunch of people who've just gone back to what it was like before, and I'm just like, man, you just didn't learn. It's like that little rat that runs down in the maze and keeps getting electrocuted and keeps on getting electrocuted, keeps, you know, just not learning. But you see, that is their path. It's their shoes. It's their path. It's their way. And it's not for me to change that. They will either get that or they won't they? But back to the issue of consistency. Consistency is one of the other issues that I often come across with attachment trauma, actually, which is the biggest form of trauma that I've ever seen coming through with my practice. All right. With my coaching, I have had bigger issues, but they do tend to be the ones with attachment issues where it's where a child in their developmental stages did not get the attention that they actually needed and deserved from their primary caregiver or givers. Okay, so consistency, there's one particular attachment style where the parents blow hot and cold. Okay, and they're called the ambivalence. They sometimes there and sometimes they're not. They are there, but, you know, not fully present. You know, they show up when you're achieving, when you are for key events like learning how to ride a bike or learning how to swim, or when you got a trophy at school or a medal for sport or whatever it is. They say, yes, we're going to have a party, but then they go, oh, well, yeah, I couldn't be bothered. You know, and I see this all the time, and it breaks my heart. Those kids, they don't know any better. They do not know any better. Okay, they are living their life around, like, adoring their parents. We are their role models. This is who we are. And if you are inconsistent with your kids, they too will be inconsistent with their children. You are passing down a generational hiccup, I guess you could call it, that is a trauma. It's an attachment trauma issue, and quite often people don't even know what attachment trauma is. And again, as always, we have to start somewhere. It's with our level of awareness. It's like, today I have now become aware that I have an attachment trauma issue. 2, what am I going to do about that? Am I going to go and find an attachment trauma specialist to help me get over this? Because I'll tell you what, you're going to need it. Some people think, oh, well, it's not a major trauma, so I don't need to worry about it. Well, actually, it can be, because if you're consistently being inconsistent, are you consistently being inconsistent to your child? If your parents or one of your parents were inconsistent with you on an ongoing basis, the impact on you psychologically is actually huge, because you learn not to trust people. You learn not to be there for people in case they hurt you. That's what happens. You sit there and you go, oh, I had my heart set up, on mum or dad being there for my birthday, and they didn't show. Or they had a social engagement and they chose to do that instead of being there for me. Or they had the do, but then they were on their phone the whole time, or they were too busy talking to the adults. I mean, I had a lot of that growing up. You might be of the generation where, don't speak because, the adults are actually speaking, don't interrupt them. So where are you? You're displaced. You're not important. Okay. So if you're inconsistent, it's going to breed inconsistency, not just within yourself, but through your family, through your kids. And I'll tell you what, you're going to attract people who are inconsistent in your life as well. Why? Because like attract like. Okay, you're going to breed people and attract people, that law of attraction thing, where you're going to pull them into your world, and they're going to consistently let you down. And it might be little things, it might be big things. And do you know what happens? You start making excuses for it. You go, oh, well, people are just like that. My mum and dad were like that, or my dad was like that, or my mum was like that, or my uncle was like that, or my primary caregiver was like that. So my question is to you, when did that start for you? So this won't apply to everyone. There are people who have secure attachments, which is, I find, a rare thing these days, if I'm honest. But if you have the disorganized ones, the disorganized attachment ones, that's now getting that severe stuff. It's like, so I had one, just broke my heart. Mother had a drinking issue, right? And would get really drunk, pass out, probably doing drugs, I would suspect. But you see, this person was making excuses for that. It's like, oh, don't say all of it, because it makes it sound worse. And they still love them, they still love them. They want to protect them too. It sounds a little odd, but yes, it does happen. And you only have one mum and dad, like birth mother, biological. So no matter how bad they are, you still love them, right? And this person was promised a bike if they help bring in the groceries and do the cleaning up while this woman had passed out. Did that, and then a week later, still no bike. So this was mentioned, oh, do you remember? Well, it was too trash, couldn't even remember. And then went, oh, actually I don't have enough money in the bank, or whatever it was, and then made the excuse that because the behavior was so bad that the bike wasn't going to be delivered. And so that was where that person started learning, I can't rely on people that I love. Okay, heartbreaking. Coaching this person in relationships later in life to show them that it doesn't have to be like that, that you actually can trust people, that you have to select the right person, that you have to identify what level of attachment traumas they have, that you have to do a lot of self-development and personal development, that you don't have to be like that, that you have to heal the bits within you so that you don't do the same. You can break that chain today, okay? That inconsistency thing drives me nuts, absolutely nuts. And I see it all the time. I mean, and let me tell you what, I see it a lot in the social elites. There is a lot of who had this? Robin Williams. Robin Williams was the byproduct of attachment trauma, because he had two socialite parents. That poor man learned one thing, The only time I ever get attention is when I make somebody laugh. His mum and dad spent all their time going to parties, upmarket parties. They were absolute socialites. They were hobnobs. They would be tennis clubbing. They would be out with, the noted, the material people. It was all about who were you rubbing shoulders with, who was noticeable, who was up there. And what happened with Robin? He got left behind on his own while mum and dad were out having a big party on a regular basis. At what cost to him? The only time that he got attention was when he was on stage, when he made his mother laugh. I think he even recounts a story. He remembers the time that he got attention, and it was when he started making his parents laugh. And that is how he got his love. If I make them laugh enough, the funnier I am, the longer I get my attention. So he just had to constantly be as funny as he possibly could, because then he was included and he was loved. I mean, how incredibly sad. He turned that gift into something that the whole world got joy out of, but he was crying inside. He was fundamentally a little traumatized boy that eventually chose to check out because of that. Now, people don't give this stuff credit. Guys, it's so important. It's so important. Give your attention, give your time, be consistent. Like Robin Williams learned, what's more important? The friends. What's more important? The money. What's more important? Position. What's more important? Material. I see it a lot in the socialites, The kids get left at home with nannies, carers who are passing through, and the impact on those kids is huge. Okay, if you're one of those people, it's your turn. You can change that. You can change that today. Change it today. Spend time each day with your kid. Be consistent. Don't say, I'm going to be here every day between 5 and 6 if you can't do it. Don't say that in the first place. If you're going to be consistent, if you make a promise, you damn well keep it. I am huge on that, and I drum that into my children. And they go, but mum, so-and-so at school didn't do that. They didn't follow through. They weren't kind to me. They made a promise they didn't keep. And I go, you are not them. And this is how we teach them. We lead by influence. You can do the same. Okay? So consistency. If you cannot make it for whatever, like if your plane has been delayed, you do it on the phone with them. You say, you know what, let's do a Zoom call. We'll be together, my darling. This is our time together. All right? If you say you're going to do a birthday party, damn well do it. You follow through. And when you're at that party, please, no phones. Be there for the kid. Be there for your child. Be there for you. Because this is what you didn't have when you were growing up. Okay? So this is your chance to make things right. This is your chance to break the chain. Okay? And it's going to be up to you to be able to do that. You're now aware. I'm telling you how you can do it. All right? It sounds so simple. You're going to find it hard. You are going to find it hard because you've never had that in your life. Oh, well, they're never there for me, Vicky. So why should I be there for them? I have that a lot because you are going to do things different. And the more that you lead by example, you're going to start attracting people that are more like you. Okay? So if you're going to be inconsistent, that's what your circle of friends are going to be like that. Your family are going to be like that to you. You're training your kids to be like that with you. You have the power to break the chain. It starts today, okay? Give them attention, your time, and be consistent. Just be consistent. Don't let up. Don't, after 3 months you go, oh, well, that's enough. Or they're getting older. No. You still be there for them. Even if they're going, well, mum, I don't really want to be around you, whatever, that's fine. That's okay. I'm there for you when you do want to, okay? So you still slot in that time. Do it differently. Just that's all you're doing when you get older. They need to know that you are there, and they need to know that you're consistent and reliable, okay? And through that consistency, you prove that they can trust you, okay? So it's really important. Hope you found that useful. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And your shoes, your path, your way. Namaste.